Welcome, seekers and visionaries, to Oracle Mountain Chats. Here on this sacred virtual peak, we gather a space for oracles to share their wisdom, their visions, and their craft. It all began with a calling I could not ignore. One day, within a vision, I held this conch shell in my hands, and as I blew its resonant note into the world, I felt its vibration ripple across unseen realms. It was a summons, a signal to fellow oracles scattered near and far. I saw that we were on a mountain, vast and towering, reaching into the heavens. At its base, the world buzzed with life, people moving, creating, searching. Yet at the summit, there was stillness, clarity, and a circle of light. There, oracles stood, their gaze focused both outward and inward. They spoke of the energies they felt, the shifts they saw, and the whispers of the unseen. They weren't above the world, they were its witnesses and its guides. From this vision, OracleFest was born, a celebration of connection, insight, and the timeless wisdom that flows through us all. The message was clear. It is time. Time to meet upon this sacred mountain, to share what we hear, feel, and see. Time to bring the wisdom of the divine to a world that is yearning for its guidance. Through OracleFest, we've created a movement of community, all yearning to empower their own inner oracle. And here in Oracle Mountain Chats, we bring that spirit into a more intimate space. This is where the oracles gather to reflect, exchange ideas, and to explore what wishes to come through in the moment. This mountain is more than stone and sky. It is a meeting place of the realms, a threshold between seen and unseen, known and unknown. Here we gather as oracles to share the visions Spirit whispers to us, to speak of the energy currents flowing through nature and humanity, and to help guide those who seek answers in a world that often feels lost. So grab a seat, breathe in the mountain air, and join us as we begin today's chat. Whether it's an energy reading, a conversation about our craft, our path, or simply sharing a perspective on the world below, this is where we wait for more oracles to join us on the mountain. What wisdom will the mountain bring us today? Let's find out together. Step into this sacred space where the wisdom of the ages converges with the questions of the present. Okay, welcome everyone. Here we find ourselves back on this beautiful Oracle Mountain Peak. And today we are joined by Debbi Dachinger. And Debbi came across our fields, I think from Debbie Solaris, actually. I believe that that's how we got connected. And we love ourselves some Debbie Solaris, bringing the galactic force to OracleFest. It was actually, I didn't tell you this when we were in our preamble here, but it was such an important part of OracleFest coming together because I had seen very clearly that there was someone who held galactic starseed knowledge who was at the table. And when I met Debbie, I went, oh, she's here. And so how beautiful it has been to then meet you and Vivian and also Tony Ghazi, and then have all of us together for OracleFest, along with all these other beautiful speakers. But it's just been an exciting train getting to know each of you. And you were just saying how you all cross paths, and I think it totally makes sense. And that you're doing so much travel as well, that there's, really an openness and a longing for this information in so many different areas of the world. So thank you, first of all, for being here and for joining OracleFest.
Absolutely. Thank you as well. And you named 3 people who are dear friends of mine. So it's transcended the events We've worked together, we've collaborated together, we've spoken on stages together. They're all amazing lights on this planet. Debbie Solaris is a close friend of mine. Tony Ghazi is a close friend of mine. Absolutely adore Vivian Chevet. And so I know you have a lot of luminaries as part of this. And I think how lucky people are because we need events like this right now. They're very important for our community and our tribe coming together and hearing the new information, hearing about what's unfolding, and also finding very specific ways to heal.
I love where you're sort of hinting and leading to here, which is actually how important right now this work is in our world. Because we could say, oh, well, it's always been important because healing's always been important. But we do find ourselves in humanity at these sort of cruxes or these peaks, maybe, of intensity. And now seems to be like one of them. Certainly, anytime I speak to anyone from the US, you are in an environment where you're seeing, I think, a lot of the obvious effects of that as well. And there's a lot of a lot more open-mindedness, I think, because we've had more information sharing for so many years now. There's a lot more open-mindedness, so it feels like a really pertinent time to bring everyone together, to be able to say, well, this is connected to that, which is connected to this, which is connected to that, something we might have felt before but didn't actually see in context. So it really excites me to have all of you, and all of the OracleFest speakers all together. So why do you think right now it's a very important thing at the moment on Earth?
Yeah, we chose to come back and live on a planet of duality. So it's a very interesting place to be. And something that I think is really important with duality, and I hope this helps people, this piece is to acknowledge it, to receive it instead of resist it. Think about politics. Think about the way people are handling things, many different situations. So the moment we resist or we start posting, and oh boy, I see interesting things out there, and I'm sure you all do on social media. Who is that really helping? And how is that helping the person posting and getting this out of their system like that so voraciously? It doesn't. And it keeps them very stuck in this unfortunate paradigm, basically saying, I'm right, you're wrong, get your act together. No one's going to change. You're not going to change, right? So while we live in duality, it's really important to acknowledge, there's different viewpoints. I made a choice to come into this very interesting planet and humanity and be part of humanity at a time when people have very opposing points of view. And it's so important to just honor them and move on, right? And let them go. It exists, it's not going away. And the other thing is, we are living in chaos, and chaos has been predicted. Everything you look at concurs that this is going to be a time of shaking things up in order to finally come to peace and harmony. The shaking things up can be very uncomfortable and can be very traumatizing, both from things that you see afar and from things that you're experiencing close up. Right now, I live in California. There have been fires going on, the devastation to land and animals and people, it's unbelievable. And as a sensitive, I have to be very careful of the walk I walk right now, because if I sink into the despair and the feeling everybody's trauma and depression and shock, I am no help to anybody, although I deeply acknowledge that reality. At the same time, I need to remember who I am, what I came here to be, and the higher vibration I can hold, the more love, the more events like this I can be part of, then I'm part of the solution. And so also, what is this year, 2025? 2025, numerology wise, number nine. Nine is the number of endings. Ask me how I know. Of the many numbers I have in my personal numerology, I'm a master number 11. I have two as a life path, which means collaboration, connection. Everything's about me with another or other people. Communication. It is about me connecting. However, I also have nine. I'm born on the 27th of June. That's a nine number. That means that in this lifetime, as in this year we're all entered into, it's a lot of endings, a lot of things coming to an end. Now, That's great news because a lot of things that are coming to an end are things and paradigms and ways of being and patterns that have not served us personally and collectively. So the fact that they go away is okay. Many of them will come up, will, they say cream rises, but also like when you sift blood, same thing, the best blood comes to the top. So all the things that have not been serving the collective, they're going to be shown. There's going to be a lot of news that shows an ugliness about things that may shock people, but it's meant to be so that the pieces of society that have not functioned well are going to start to become known to go away. Where there's endings, of course, there are beginnings. And where there are beginnings, there's choice. So we'll all have new choice about who we want to be and how we want to head into the future and the now. And then also, we're heading into the Chinese New Year, which is happening soon. And that is about the wooden snake. And I speak about the snake in shamanic terms. And the snake, it's about healing. The snake is about shedding its skin, and it reminds us to shed our old stories and our old beliefs that no longer serve us. And the snake shows us how. So, as part of what I'm going to be doing for you and for your community here at OracleFest, I'm going to be speaking specifically to close out, and thank you for that position, to close out this ceremonial, sacred presentations that we're doing, these shares, each of us, with animal spirit medicine, the wisdom of animals. And I'm going to be doing experiences so folks can heal in the moment during my talk and have some really precise information to bring forward into this year.
I'm so excited. It's going to be so juicy. As you're talking about snake and of course shamanic work, it's coming into my mind a really beautiful experience that I had with snake energy, dancing and being with the snake as a movement, as an embodied practice, and what it really felt like to shed skin. And so when I think about this number 9 year, I think, that was really nice to just fully kick off, the last little bit. I know snakes don't have feet, but I do. So I was kicking off the last bit of this, snake skin that was attached. You go, that was useful. I don't need that anymore. And so it has to fully go. It's not going to be a comfortable experience if you're hanging on to all of these bits. But I mean, we see that a lot in healing work, that is what creates so much suffering, is this sort of attachment to those things we were comfortable with, or we thought we liked better. We thought we knew that was the best option, rather than these ones that maybe the divine had waiting for us that were better had we just opened our hearts to it. So I hope there's a lot of really cool new beginnings and sparks for people this year. And I imagine there will be. I can also see how it is going to be uncomfortable for a lot of people. We have to be really excited by choice to want to let go of what we already chose, right?
Absolutely. And this year, and it's so spooky, this year has been known since last year that it contains a lot of fire energy, burning things to the ground. So it's not meant to scare people, but it is to give everybody a heightened awareness. So as this is happening, don't feel like, why is this happening to me? I mean, this is the time we all agreed to be here and to be in. And so in order for the new to emerge, the old has to somehow vacate. And so interesting choice, but it's going to be a lot. And that's why I think programs like this are really important, because I say find your tribe, find your community, make sure to align. And it's so important when you align, show up, really show up for these healing things and immerse yourself in the experience as much as you can, so that the more we shed, like you're talking about, the more we let go, the more we can bring in, the more capacity we have.
Absolutely. And it doesn't seem like that when you're debating the letting go of something, because you're just looking at having something and then looking at having nothing, right? But if we stay tuned to the unknown, which is where I have, a great amount of joy in showing people that we can do that, staying tuned to the unknown, we become like open then to all the different ways that this could get better, that this could improve for all of humanity, right? And so it really isn't about very bravely saying, well, who knows if I get any of those things back, but drop everything and then see what, see what today holds for you or what the next day holds for you as well. And I love this idea as well. Right now, it's so key for so many people to empower that inner oracle, because we have been really challenged the last few years over great authority, great challenges of having, I really think, I don't know, maybe just because of, I'm 32, so I grew up having a computer in the home, but just learning what computers were. So I've grown up fairly comfortably or naturally, but it's still really fast how all this information has been known compared to, of course, when I was a kid, I would go get a book. I wasn't getting information from the internet until maybe high school when they started to train me. Thank goodness for that and the timing that I chose to be here for my own sake. But I really think, wow, we have a lot more information at our disposal, and yet we're really seemingly struggling to process a lot of it as well. For us to know what we know as sensitive beings is really hard. It's very emotionally taxing to integrate and absorb and understand all of the atrocities our world maybe kept from our view before we had the internet and the ability to know more and to really truly understand a bit better about what is going on. There's also a lot of really beautiful things that we're exposed to. And so we have the power of choice. What do we want to keep exposing ourselves to as our years go on? What information are we actually looking to have? And how can we be in truth? We don't want to go in denial of the suffering that exists, but how can we be in truth to what we need to do? And when you shared that you feel, okay, I have to be mindful of how I intake information because I need to be able to serve people. I need to be the best Debbi that I can be for this moment, to step out of the way to allow spirit messages to come through, because otherwise we're getting in the way of it with our minds and our worries and all these things. And so for you to make that is an empowered choice, and it wouldn't have come easily, but it comes through practice of seeing it's the smoothest and most efficient way for your whole life to work together and for you to have the biggest impact on people is this inner oracle. That's where this came from, is OracleFest, is everyone showing up, empowering their inner oracle, listening to people who have been through, a lot of what they might be going through, and standing up on the mountain with us.
It's an important point that you make, Kate, and I appreciate that, what you just said, because we are in a point of ascension. You're talking about technology and the uptake, and it's true how incredibly fast it is. And just when you get used to one thing, TikTok, boom, it could be gone, right? And you get used to something else, and it's Instagram, and boom, they've created threads. And then there's a lot that's happening, and it's so much to learn. And discernment is very good. Yes to this, not to this. You have to know where your capacity lies. You don't have to be in every single corner, right, of everything that's going on. And I think it's very important in the midst of ascension to acknowledge, yes, the information is coming very quickly, and also energetically, physically, what's happening, the upgrades, it's very rapid. People are having all sorts of interesting symptoms, everything from sleep to how they feel and how they're functioning. So where you position yourself now more than ever is important. First and foremost, each of us agreed to be here. There are no accidents. This is your home. So when people say, because they're aware of their galactic heritage, oh, I wish I was home, you are home. You agreed to do this and be this right now, so please be here, right?
Yes,
the best thing, the best gift you could give yourself and all of us is your true presence and your true just surrender to this amazing experience. You can have what you agreed to do, what you agreed to experience at this time. And so once you've surrendered to being a human in this body. And look, I get it. My dominant spirit galactically is Lyran. I'm used to being in a huge lioness body. So it's very weird to fit into this thing with no fur and all of that. But okay, it's kind of awesome right now to be this and acknowledge that my Lyran family is very close to me at all times, guiding me. So let's just do that. And the other thing is what we agree to in this ascension. I think the idea of what we're allowing in, who are we spending time with, must be high vibe, must be a contribution, must be able to hear me, see me, acknowledge me, not from my woundedness, but from my magnificence. And then also, what are we contributing to? It's really important time for people to start to allow in what we're here to do, each of us. I'm saying we euphemistically, but I'm speaking to each of you. So a lot of people, and I'm taking this riffing off of an interview, somebody who interviewed me yesterday, and I thought she made an incredible point when she said, "Oh my God, everybody's channeling right now." And I'm like, yeah, I'm around because I do a lot of events. And there are those who we can feel in our inner knowing, our inner oracle, that this person is fully aligned to be of light language, to be of a channel. And there's other people we hear and it's like, what? That's it's not landing. There's nothing going on. And just because there's a plethora of that, yes, a lot of people coming online around that, yes, doesn't mean it's your path. So to let all of that stuff go and allow what is yours to come in, what is your organic expression to come out. And you may be really surprised. I talk about this a lot in my shamanic work. Be so surprised by the answers you get. When I do the journeying with people as a group or individually shamanically, I always preface it by saying, be surprised whether you're going to meet your spirit animal, whether the shaman has information for you, whether you're letting go of traumas that we're working on. Be surprised because your mind is always going to tell you stuff, and it's actually not of help. But to go here into the heart, into the soul, that's where the information comes. And to just let it bypass so you do become a true channel for your own healing. So it's very important right now, get out of the way, surround yourself environmentally, situationally, with people, and everything in your life should be a contribution. What am I doing and being? And finally, your practices. Must have practices. They don't have to look like anyone else's. You don't have to meditate, right? That may be for someone else, but there may be beautiful daily practices that you do engage in that bring you back into self, into calm, into knowing who I am and what I'm here to do. And if I don't know what I'm here to do, I am open to the benevolent ones to show me that, to guide me right now. And it may unfold at a rate I'm uncomfortable with because I like it all now, but it will be perfect for my divine path, and to trust all of that.
I mean, I love all of that. I would love to encourage everyone to just like rewind, record scratch, rewind, go back and take some notes. I think it would be really beneficial to just be like, wait, maybe I need to redigest everything. Debbi just gave you like a great plan for how to buckle up and enjoy the ride of this year, right? Is I keep seeing it as I keep jokingly saying buckle up to my clients. Like I keep saying that there's something that really feels like if we're with it, it's going to be so exciting and thrilling this year. And if you're against it, it's going to feel like you're being told what to do or where not to go. And it might just seem like a real big kerfuffle. And I've just never felt it so stark as the contrast of this year, maybe because we're at this 9 year. And so it brings that all to a head. You've got to make that the final choice, let go or take with you in that next chapter. And I think it's a cool time also for setting the groundwork or setting new foundations up. So what you're talking about, surrounding yourself around people who help you stay connected to that idea of contribution every single day, right, of your life. If that was the only choice someone made, it could be a 180. Their life could take a whole new different direction because we underestimate the power of the energetics of the choices of who and how we're spending our time.
We underestimate often how simple things are. Totally. Like we really like to complicate them, but it isn't. Yes. If you go to these basic tenets and you employ them every day, and we're all always checking in. I want to be clear that once we make a choice, okay, I want to be a high vibration, that it just, right, it's like done. No, I mean, and I have to modulate
Mhm.
And I'll be very transparent. Because you and I had a great conversation before this started, Kate. I had a situation like we were talking about yesterday, and I'll tell you how I navigated it. There's somebody that wanted to start working with me, and I work with spiritual messengers, so it's been an interesting pattern. The first time we were supposed to have a Zoom, she didn't show up and nothing. I got nothing. I'm like, oh, okay. I hope you're okay. And I don't remember the explanation I got, but she was okay. And then the second time worked out, but she ended up talking so much about herself, there was no work done.
Mhm.
And then the third time she rescheduled, and this fourth time, which was yesterday, she didn't show. Okay, now basically I'm out.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
not, I don't do that in my life. I don't have time. It's
Yep.
silly. It's a
Absolutely.
silly way to not show up for somebody, for yourself,
Mhm.
and to impact somebody else's schedule. So I wrote an email that basically said, hey, this is what happened. This is how long I waited. And in the future, should we choose to keep working together, this is what I need. It's fairly basic. But if for any reason you are not to show up, you need to let me know in advance because my time matters and I like to be respected. I hope you are well and everything is okay. Thank you. That was it.
Yep.
Sent it off. And then I got a very strange text that actually triggered me.
Mhm.
Something like, we'd all be really happy if everybody made it to the Zoom on time. And I'm like, what? So it really triggered me and I had feelings come up. Listen, let's just say as humans, we have a huge spectrum of feelings. And I could have immediately responded from that space of being triggered and reactive. But I know enough to never do that. And so I went out for a walk with my dogs, and the first thing I did was do some EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique. It totally helps the trigger, get rid of all the truth of what I was feeling. Then it goes deeper, and I was realizing, oh, from that feeling, okay, you know what? There's a lot here. Let me go into that. So the moment this person wanted to work with me, I had a weird sense about them. Oh, I don't know if this is going to work out with this person. And on paper, it should have worked out. I went,
Totally.
all right, I just want to acknowledge that some of what I intuitively knew as an oracle is coming true. And that validates the original thought. It still doesn't feel to go in good to be in. So I was just processing, and I made a strong choice. I am not writing to this person in this space
Mhm.
until I am clear. And I need to be clear emotionally before I respond. And then also, once I'm clear, I'll be very clear what my path is. Do we continue? What does this look like for me? Because opportunities with money, they mean nothing if there's no reciprocal, respectful engagement. And so I process. And then what was great, I knew I was clear because I had nothing in my space anymore. It wasn't distracting me to think about this person or how upset I was or all of that. Um, I was super clear. And I was okay. I was really okay to let our working together go. In that space of detachment, this person wrote back to me and said, I am so sorry. And I would never want to work with a person like that either. Here's what happened. And they literally had an emergency in their working space that forced them to vacate their space, which meant leaving their phone. And they were outside, couldn't respond to anything. They had no equipment.
Mhm.
Okay, now this is different thing and saying here's another time I have and I promise this will not happen. This is what I need
Yep.
actually. I need someone to be responsible, the ability to respond, to know that they're going to rectify this in the future and that they are acknowledging my time and my professionalism. So okay, this is much better. So now we have a space to talk. And if I had not done that work on my own, because everything in the outside is a reflection of me, it would not have showed up like this. They could not have showed up like this. It could have been contentious and all of this weirdness,
Yep.
like that first text they sent.
Mm-hmm.
So I am saying this because stuff like this will also keep rising. And it is really important, I think, for us to be responsible. I could have easily said, oh, I didn't create that, little head thing going on. I didn't create that. But it happened in my world. So how I respond or react or not is incumbent on me. So I take responsibility for my piece of the party. And as I do that, it's actually very, very, very helpful for me to get to the bottom of what's happening, to not respond right away to anybody if there's any energy there, and to find out what's really going on. And when I can look at the matrix of a whole situation, it's not about their stuff, it's my stuff. What did I actually know? What was actually present for me? How angry do I feel? And when I'm angry, that means there's a lie going on. And I knew the lie was in the text that they sent me because the text made it seem like I was somehow at fault. Mama, don't play that way. So I had to get really clear on all of it. And when I was able to get clear of the situation for me, then of course, for anybody or anything else in the situation, it opens up for them. My paws are off, and then they can go from there. Much cleaner, much clearer, much more responsible. So it's very interesting, all these situations, all of what's possible. And I just know what I bring into my life and what I bring to situations, and I need the same. And if we're ascending right now, for me, I even want my situations and opportunities to ascend. It's
Yep.
not the same game. I'm ready for a bigger game, like way bigger, way more visible. And so it's even going to kick up stuff for me. So I'm saying that because I want everyone to know once you make these choices, it's not check, check, check. That arose yesterday. Is that usual for me? No, not even. Not even. But it did. So in the moment, how are we going to handle it? How are we going to show up?
Mm-hmm. And it's not always obvious because that is what some people would just say is a typical work situation that could happen. Oh, it could happen to anyone. Oh, that person's flaky, just write it off. And but actually to take in even deeper, why is this in my sphere? What happened here energetically? Why is this reaction coming up for me, or where does that lead me to? It's such a beautiful journey of curiosity once you get used to that discomfort of that in an internal digging and sorting around. Interesting. You shared a story, an anecdote earlier, just super briefly of someone booking in, and it was in this story just at the beginning where you thought, oh, I hope she's okay. That feeling of, oh, I hope nothing happened because we didn't hear anything, right? And this happens to service providers all the time who there's a no-show, and some people will just say, oh, well, everyone's flaky these days. And some people like myself, I'll go, ooh, I really hope they're all right. I'd like to put some blessing, some little dove out into the world to just watch over them or something. And I've had it happen. This is a very, very strange time where you go, well, the signs seem pretty obvious to me, that I had someone book in who was really, really feeling lost. The experience of soul loss is exactly how she found herself, saying, this is what I'm going through. She had been in a coma for 2 weeks and coming back from it, didn't have a sensation of who she was anymore, had this feeling of severe disconnect from her soul, from her spirit. This makes a lot of sense in shamanic context. We're very familiar with, of course, that makes sense. But if you're running around in the conditioned world where there are many, many fears, or you're in a community, a family, and a workplace environment that does not open up to these ideas, does not talk about it, does not validate the experience that you're even having, she was being forced in her mind to believe that she was wrong about this potential understanding that could help solve things. Medications were exacerbating her symptoms in this short span of a time. And she never showed up to the session because she passed away before she actually was able to arrive. And it sat with me as, actually, this is the reason that we have that feeling of panic. Some people will think, oh, well, this is just a nothing thing. This is an appointment. But when you're dealing with deep healing, there was absolutely a feeling for me of, and I'd like to figure out what went wrong. I'm not even getting any responses, right? And because that soul was done on this earth plane at that time. What is so curious to me is in that same month, I had two other personal and client situations that were about the idea of great soul loss, psychosis, and spiritual disconnect. And so it's inspired me to really dive into this subject because I went, well, it's showing up for me. There's something in me that's in that client who never came to see me. There's something in me that is a part of whatever this is that's weaving. So even though that's seemingly someone else's life, I'm not having that challenge with myself. I've not been in a coma. I'm not having this experience. There's something so deeply that's a part of what feels like my soul story. And I think that happens for everyone. That just happened to be a really stark kind of example similar to what you shared, but that's also the reason in a super simple like day-to-day thing, that's a reason just to say, hey, heads up, I'm not showing up to the session. Even if you don't explain yourself, let me know you're live, right? Because it can happen. And I don't share that story often, but it can happen. And I think it's important that people know to take that responsibility is for both people, both people on either side.
Absolutely. That is a very, very powerful story and an extreme story, and an important one as a reference point for people to remember we care.
Yeah.
You matter. And when you say something, we value you and we value your time.
Mm-hmm.
And if for some reason we have an agreement to meet for a call, for a Zoom, for whatever, at a specific date and time, and you don't show, we will worry about you. We will
Yeah.
wonder about you. We will care about you.
She was held in my
So,
heart. Like I did need to journey to go do something with her after because it felt so, we had never met, but there is this soul connection that they've clicked this, interest. They've shown that they are booking that time, and we tether out to them as well. Say, hey, come on in, and I'm happy to have you. And let's figure this out together. We really do feel, we really do care. Yeah, it's not just things out there, and it's not just me, I'm channeling you a message, right? So come and look at how shiny my connection is. And it's so not that for the people who are really aligned. I think that's also something to look out for when you're looking to work with new people, is look for that alignment of where they sit, being connected to all.
yeah, it's important. And it's important for people to remember this is also a time, what you're talking about is very brave work. When you
Yeah.
looked at euphemistically these people and their issues and said, okay, what is in common here?
Mm-hmm.
How does this show up in my life? I haven't done the coma, but there's something else in me where this is resonating and attracting this. That is exactly the work of today.
Mm-hmm.
Shadow work. It is saying, I see it in you and I can point it out in you, but how does it show up in me? And that is the greatest thing we can do right now, because as we heal in here, we heal the collective and the planet. How the collective and the planet is healed, we heal in here. We're very much part of this woven process with the earth and with each other and with the cosmos. And of course, if we will take that mantle on and heal at that level and say, how am I responsible? Where does this show up? It's not going to be the same mirror, but there's going to be some kind of thread of how we do that. Maybe we're flaky somewhere else in our life, or whatever it is, and however it manifests. When we're responsible for not doing that anymore, but for unearthing, but why? Why do I do that? How does that show up? How is that important? How is that impacting my own life and other people? That's also how we go from the head to the heart. The heart is where we want to live. There's so many people right now who say, I want to meet the extraterrestrials, right?
Let's go out there.
I could say a million things about that,
I
but
bet. I
I
bet.
will say succinctly that the one thing, if you really want that to happen, I will tell you the thing our benevolent cosmic brothers and sisters all say, they're looking for the open heart. They're looking for the healed hearts. So if you really want that, then do that work, because that's when and how it's going to happen. Even if you just want to do contact work out in the desert somewhere, do CE5 work, close encounters of fifth kind work, they all say the heart is what they look for. Simple.
So simple, and I love this, love this idea because I've felt this for many, many years. The idea that there is so much to learn and so much to understand about what's out there. And there, it must be held and processed. That information is held by us, right? And so we need to be open. We need to be ready for that. We need to actually open the mind and the heart, right? And how do you have an open heart if you have a closed mind? It's very difficult to do. And so I love that advice. And I think it's so important because there is this tendency to want to escape reality because it is not comfortable or satisfying or fulfilling or right. And so the excitement when people sometimes catapult into the spiritual or the non-ordinary realms is, oh my gosh, I just need to get back there, right? And it's a sensational distance. And it's so, I mean, it's so the opposite, I think, of the work that we do, is to think of it that way. But that is, I think, the initial feeling, because it's, well, it's not here, right? It's same way. And I'm looking because I see your book, Dare to Dream. I'm thinking about dreams as it came in to me when dreams started first coming in that felt like this is what you need to do with your life. And I would look at my life and say, oh, that doesn't look anything like what you're sending me. It felt far. And so then I felt like I had friends at the time, I was in my early 20s, and they would say, oh, you're so lucky, you know what you want to do with your life. And I go, well, it feels like a 10-ton weight on me because now I know, well, now what? Right. And sometimes it isn't actually as exciting to think we know what's ahead, or to think we know what's out there as what we imagine. So people would project this on me, and I go, man, I wish I could hand this to you because it's a bit of a burden for me right now. And now it's not, but years ago, the dreams and what life wanted for me and how far I felt from that felt much more tough, right? Closing that gap, I think, was about opening my heart as well. Okay, what's next? All right, tell me, what do you have me doing today? And it becomes a bit more of like an enjoyable experience. So I hope that this OracleFest overall message is that people can kind of close that gap and sort of speed up the ease in which they find themselves going through life by trusting, by hearing, by really receiving. Receptivity is very important as well. Just really taking in, like in this situations that you've shared, honestly, it's about being receptive and actually responding with this, taking it in for yourself. We have to receive it somewhere. Where does it go? The open heart. So where does the contact go? To your open heart. So
Your
I love
open
that.
heart.
Yeah.
And that speaks to the rise of the divine feminine, which
Yes.
is all about receiving. It's very gentle power. It's
Yes.
it's profound magic, right? In one's stillness and gentility, to be the magic and the receptivity
Mhm.
and the ability to hold, the container to hold right now. So we're all, men and women, being called into the balance. All that busyness, industrialness that we have done as a culture for so long, and that no longer serves, right? And so that's making a grand shift as well. But to come into that beingness, that stillness, that knowingness, all of that, that's who we're being called to be right now. And it's a very important aspect. You don't also have to have all the answers in that space.
Yep.
And when you're talking about the kind of shifts you're talking about, Kate, which I've been through many times in my life, I will say that, yeah, being presented information about oneself can be very confusing, discombobulating. What do I do with this? Where do I go with this? But stay out of the head, because that's not where the answers are. But definitely stay in the curiosity, the wonderment that will lead you down paths which, even though they may not be the thing, will, if even if it's circuitous, will get you there. Just be
Mm-hmm.
in the curiosity. Well, I don't understand this, but let's get information on that. It's a good place to start. Let's just find out. Maybe I'll work with somebody, take a program. There's so many ways to do it, but more is always revealed. If you are given the information and the vision, even if you don't know the how, let that go. Just salt and pepper it, and know that you've also been given the power to allow it to manifest in your life.
Love that. It's a beautiful note for us to end on. I was going to ask if there's anything else you want to add into this space while we're here. I'm so overjoyed for people to get to hear from you, but also to really be in an immersive experience for themselves, listening and also connecting to animal spirit guidance with your session at OracleFest, closing out the Sunday. So it'll be such a beautiful, an integration focused ending, which is amazing, amazing, getting healing wisdom.
I'll make sure people receive that integration. Yes, it is important for your beautiful event, the Oracle Fest, as well as for the time we're in and what we're experiencing. So not only will I be sharing some pretty cool shamanic information a lot of people don't know about, I will also be guiding people through various experiences so that you get a lot out of it. And then we'll find a way to bring this all together as a group. It'll be beautiful. I'm excited.
Amazing. Oh, I'm so excited. I really do. I get every time I have a new speaker on here for these Oracle Mountain chats, I get one more level, one more notch of excitement dialed up. So I don't know how many more notches I have left, but it's seemingly endless.
That's beautiful. Yay.
Yeah, so thank you for being here, Debbi, and for everyone else, enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are, and we hope to see you out at Oracle Fest.